Peace vanishes when Jaguar Wright goes online. Everyone watching knows that something explosive is about to happen as the atmosphere shifts and comment sections go silent. She made an appearance on screen that evening at 3 a.m, her voice harsh and low, her tea boiling, her sunglasses still on indoors. "Y'all keep pretending you don't see it," she stated. The discussion stopped breathing as the user said, "But that country sweetheart you all adore so much has been playing more than guitars." Next, it ignited, because Jaguar Wright's words burn rather than trend when she speaks. She wasn't aiming for a hip-hop tycoon or an R&B icon this time. It was the man with the flawless smile and flawless PR halo. Keith Urban is referred to as golden by the business. And that gloss was hiding something sloppy, Jaguar said. She implied that Maggie B, a rising country pop musician noted for her purity and small-town charm, wasn't only Keith's musical pal. She was the custodian of a secret that may transform Nashville from the inside out. During that 3 a.m, her claim fell like a thunderclap. M Live. "You want to know who that baby belongs to?" She responded. "It's Keith, not some random person. Urban." Social media completely changed course in a matter of seconds. Twitter was turned into a courthouse. Detective turns TikTok. Additionally, YouTube thumbnails spread like wildfire. Commenters began tying together unconnected pieces, analyzing past performances, backstage embraces, and looks captured on video. By dawn, every stream was dominated by hashtags like Maggie Mystery and Keith Urban Baby. Jaguar claimed to have evidence. Voice memos, invoices, and even medical records. She explained how it started at a Nashville songwriting retreat, the type that conflates melody with confessions at midnight. She claimed that as they penned one song, they also developed another plot. The audience didn't require proof. They were captivated by the story alone. She then escalated the commotion by alleging that Nicole had been using covert label accounts to send support money to Keith Urban. His wife, Kidman, was already aware. "She's not blind," Jaguar said. It was stillness that taught her how to grin. By itself, that statement generated thousands of threads. Nicole was abruptly recast as the betrayed queen of a new scandal, after having survived 10 years of whispers and a Hollywood marriage based on scrutiny. Bloggers shouted headlines about private investigators and secret DNA testing. It wasn't all confirmed, but that wasn't the purpose. The drama Maggie B disappeared in the interim. No tweets, no live concerts, no Q&As. Everyone interpreted her PR team's statement that she was taking time for herself as keeping quiet. She discreetly erased some old photos of herself with Keith Urban before she vanished. One with the caption, "Using a legend to write magic." Gone. Supporters viewed the removal as proof. Additionally, certain songs aren't supposed to be heard when Maggie briefly resurfaced with a single cryptic story, dark screen, and white lettering. Be heard by everybody. The weight of interpretation caused the internet to crumble. For Jaguar's supporters, it was evidence. It was guilt to the skeptics. It was also addictive to those who were interested. Jaguar came back in real time, drinking tea and brandishing her phone as if it were a trophy. Maggie herself sent me notes saying, she thanked me for telling her the truth. Jaguar chuckled when followers pleaded for screenshots. You guys aren't yet prepared for that degree of reality. Overnight, that video alone received 1 million views. The more she teased, the more people believed her. She had a magnetism that was a combination of preaching and performing. Keith Urban's management was reportedly under complete lockdown by this point. There were rumors of tightened NDAs, erased studio footage, and frantic lawyer calls. Blogs stated that in order to eliminate any evidence of the affair, whole drives containing unreleased songs had been examined. Truth no longer mattered, yet no one had proven anything. The louder story triumphs on the internet. It was impossible to overlook Keith and Maggie's chemistry, an unidentified crew worker informed a gossip website. It didn't matter if that individual existed. Once it was in place, the quote endured forever. Fans uncovered previous interviews in which Maggie laughed when asked about songwriting partners and crushes. You promised me the moon, but left me with your echo. A line from one of her unreleased songs was taken and tagged as an admission. Speculation became scripture in a matter of minutes. Jaguar Wright maneuvered through it all like a conductor directing mayhem. She implied that larger names were involved, retweeted memes, and wrote cryptic words. She informed her fans that this was not about a single singer. It concerns a sector of the economy based on secrecy and quiet. Her rhythm was precisely matched to the internet's appetite for anger, and her comments spread more quickly than evidence. The plunge followed, the live broadcast that would establish her as the digital drama queen. Tens of thousands of people watched. With tea in hand and an unwavering gaze, Jaguar sat in almost complete darkness. Whispering, "They told me to stop," she said. "But y'all know I don't stop." Then the screen flashed pixelated screenshots. Payment logs, text messages, documents that are partially blurry. Most of it was unreadable, but viewers didn't care. Jaguar's narration sounded like a sermon in court. That's the deal they attempted to conceal. The hospital utilized that code. They are afraid of the truth. Screenshots were all over Reddit and Twitter in a matter of seconds. One purportedly CU communication said, commenters concluded that CU meant country urban Keith himself when they said, "We'll talk after the show. Stay calm." Detectives on TikTok claim to have discovered Maggie B's figure in one picture after examining mirror reflections and wallpaper patterns. The evidence was irrelevant. Engagement did. Then the alleged audio leak occurred. Backstage, two muffled voices whispered. The clip was hardly heard, but Jaguar stated, "That's him saying we can't let this get out." But it was real because of conviction. Persuaded that they had heard a confession, the audience nodded. The scandal had taken over every platform by dawn. Keith Urban's one-line statement denouncing the charges as untrue and defamatory was released by the PR staff. However, the internet doesn't respect quiet. It consumes it. The explosion of memes with the phrase, "It's yours, cowboy." Nicole Kidman left for a movie project abroad, but her followers assumed she was running away. The image showed Keith holding a newborn guitar. A phony Nicole demands truth, the secret that destroyed her marriage, was revealed in a magazine cover that went viral. The image continued to circulate even after it was refuted. A rumor once, when anything catches fire, the facts are only smoke. Jaguar Wright was in the middle of it all, enjoying the mayhem she had caused. She alluded to a documentary agreement, teased more interviews, and revealed, the audience chuckled, but they knew she was right when she said, "They used to call me crazy, now they call me content." The algorithm outrage is rewarded, and Jaguar had transformed it into art. She accomplished what few could by the end of the week. She sparked a global debate on something that might not even exist. She wasn't only revealing secrets to her followers. She was revealing authority. To those who criticized her, she was the tumult they were unable to ignore. However, one thing was now evident to all onlookers. Whoever controls the narrative in the era of viral storytelling actuality. This is precisely what Jaguar Wright accomplished. At a time, one live stream. As the sun rose above Nashville, the narrative had already surpassed its makers. Jaguar Wright did more than only spread a rumor. She constructed a fire. It moved from TikTok to blogs and live streaming, to television, and she was suddenly being quoted by all the media that had previously made fun of her. She was controlling the news cycle rather than merely being popular. The dispute had evolved into everyone inside was spinning as it turned into a digital tornado. Keith Urban, whether they liked it or not, remained silent while strumming and singing at gigs as if nothing had happened. Fans screaming songs louder than his conscience as he played his guitar under neon lights. His face was captured on camera, searching for signs of remorse. They discovered instead fatigue. On the internet, however, fatigue appears to be evidence. His staff attempted to hide the tale under music, charity events, and good press. Honors, happy pictures with admirers. The internet, however, never forgets. The hashtags came back stronger each time his name was mentioned. Maggie B attempted to remain undetectable in the meantime. But when millions of people are searching for you, invisibility is ineffective. Outside of recording studios, paparazzi stood by and took pictures. Hazy pictures of the windows of her automobile. She was spotted at a clinic, according to blogs. Detectives on TikTok peered at sunglasses and mirrors in an attempt to capture an overview of a baby seat. The fact that none of it was confirmed didn't matter. The people had already accepted the notion as fact. Commenters kept saying, echoing one another, "She's hiding something," until the rumors became rhythm. Then came the night that the baby files was summoned by Jaguar Wright. Just the anticipation seemed to be a worldwide occurrence. Like a Netflix debut, thousands of people eagerly awaited her live feed. Her face came into view as the title displayed on the screen, silently. The camera hovered long enough to make everyone uncomfortable, while gospel music hummed softly in the background. Then she muttered, "They told me to stop, but y'all know I don't stop." Nothing happened for a little while. Then, with paper spilling out and torn edges, she raised a folder into view. She turned pages like a preacher turning prophecies and continued, "Tonight we talk about what they buried." Images flashed across in blur. The display, what appeared to be black marker redactions of hospital bills, clinic documents, and partial identities. Parker's private clinic. A private clinic in a celebrity client, she replied, referring to Tennessee. Files are buried, records are altered. She didn't have to specifically mention Maggie B. or Keith Urban, but she didn't. The crowd themselves filled in the holes. She went on, squinting at the camera. A baby was born. Additionally, that baby has blonde curls, blue eyes, and an unusual last name. Intended to be real. The comments went wild. The discussion scrolled too quickly to read as thousands of people typed at once. Display the evidence. We have faith in you. Hollywood is not as huge as this. Each message added fuel to the flames. After that, Jaguar produced what she said was a paternity file. One word, positive, was emphasized in brilliant yellow, while the other half of the text was blurry. She stated they believed they could conceal it. However, the truth always comes to light. The bang reverberated as she smashed the paper onto the table. The microphone. Maggie's and Keith Urban's DNA were trending all over the world in a matter of minutes. Within an hour, YouTube was overrun with reaction videos. According to one self-described insider, Maggie B. was seen using a false identity at a pediatric clinic. According to another, Nicole Kidman unfollowed Maggie and Keith months in the past. No one gave a damn, even though it wasn't true. It was too much fun to verify the delusion. Within business headquarters, executives were in a frenzy. Clean images and devoted fan bases have always been the foundation of country music. Their golden boy was suddenly the focus of a digital circus. Lawyers were ready to threaten anyone disseminating the material. PR companies planned damage control interviews, and publicists drafted emergency statements. However, it spread more quickly the harder they attempted to halt it. Every video that was removed was republished 5 times. Every removal was marked as censorship. It wasn't their side. The algorithm had taken sides. Part truth teller, part chaos conductor, Jaguar Wright had evolved into a digital god. She asserted her next move would put careers on hold. She stated, "This isn't about a baby anymore," at one of her follow-ups. "It's about a sector of the economy that is based on fear and deception." She began naming executives, producers, and former partners, implying that Keith's purported cover-up was but one part of a larger scheme. Her every word sounded prepared, but impromptu, a lecture masquerading as controversy. The audience was unable to turn away. Maggie B. eventually spoke up at that moment. Late one night, she shared a brief video as she was sitting in her car, her voice shaking and her eyes red. Her words were quiet. "I don't know who or what I did to deserve this," she muttered. However, I've never said a lie. She didn't mention Keith Urban or Jaguar Wright, but she wasn't required to. "I just want to make music." Every pause and every tear was read by the internet. It was a cry for assistance to some. Others saw it as just another show. "She's faking it." Another commenter said, "You can't fake that pain." Another said, "If she was innocent, she'd show the truth." Suddenly, Maggie's vulnerability turned into a Rorschach exam for a judgment-dependent audience. Her footage was all over the place the following morning. It was rebroadcast with slow piano music by major sources. Below, commentators argued about whether or not she was being truthful. Each frame turned into fuel. Every feeling turned into proof. The folks had been engulfed by the controversy. Jaguar Wright, meantime, was not giving up. Through the commotion, she laughed as she went live once more. "Do you see how they trembled?" Her voice raised in defiance as she declared, "They can silence me, but they can't silence the truth." She brandished her phone as if it were a weapon, saying, "They've been protecting predators for decades, and now they're mad because I said it aloud." Even so. You're not prepared for the hospital expenses," she continued. Hospital receipts became the latest buzzword on the internet. After fans looked for images, papers, and anything else that would support her story, a phony PDF displaying Keith Urban and MB's financial transactions surfaced online in a matter of hours. Logic was out of the building by then, but it looked good enough to fool thousands, and nobody saw that the money was in euros instead of dollars. Every takedown resulted in 10 new reposts, despite Keith's legal team going into overdrive, contacting platforms, requesting removal, and classifying the tale as harassment. Major journalists even started framing stories as questions. Is there any truth to Jaguar Wright's claims? Is there a secret scandal in country music? After publicly erasing the distinction between reporting and rumors, Jaguar Wright went silent for 2 days. For someone who lived online, the lack of posts, videos, and comments felt like a blackout. Her fans made wild guesses, with some saying some claimed she had been sued, while others alleged she had been bought off, and some even hinted that industry fixers had paid her a visit. When she reappeared on the 3rd day, she was different. No sunglasses, no theatrics. Because the less she said, the more the internet roared. "They told me to stop talking," she whispered gently, her voice low, almost exhausted. "And maybe I will for now." Her serene yet menacing gaze were fixed on the camera. But keep in mind that every falsehood grows weary of being concealed. She then cut off the stream. That single line disrupted the internet. Every falsehood that people grow weary of concealing turns into a movement. TikTok modifications, remixes, and inspirational posts were created by fans. It was popular for days. It was more than simply a quote to Jaguar Wright. It has to do with branding. She had made identity out of scandal. Keith Urban took the stage once more for a Las Vegas show after the dust settled. He played as if nothing had occurred. His voice, his piercing smile steady. However, he hesitated for a half-second before producing a smile as a supporter yelled, "Who's the baby Keith?" Cameras captured it, and the video alone received millions of views. His defense may have been silence, but on the internet, silence is seen as guilt. Sector insiders hinted that executives were concerned about long-term consequences and that sponsors were retreating. A producer who wished to remain unnamed told a gossip website, "It's not about whether it's true." But for Maggie B, the noise turned into money. It's about the noise, and the noise is too loud. Her name shot to the top of the rankings. Her streaming doubled. And even those who questioned her clicked merely to witness the commotion. Marketing had replaced scandal. Nobody knew what was true by the end of the month. No longer. Perhaps that was the purpose. The witnesses were unnamed, the recordings were altered, and the receipts were dubious. It didn't matter, though. The viewers wasn't looking for the truth. Sensation was what they were. The truth. Sensation was what they were. After. No one knew that better than Jaguar Wright. She had turned around. She transformed herself into a living algorithm, a narrative who relied only on rhythm rather than evidence. Disbelief sounded like denial in her voice, which had the ideal balance of mystery and authority. She stated, "They think I'm lying," in her final dream of the month. However, lies don't last this long. She wasn't mistaken either. Because in a time where outrage is content and attention equals wealth, Jaguar Wright had found the magic recipe. Say just enough to convince people, never enough to establish their correctness. She would have won whether she revealed a secret baby or simply tricked a million people. She had transformed controversy into spectacle, gossip into gospel, and herself into the narrative. Whispers in Nashville melted into fatigue. Keith Urban continued to perform. Pretending not to notice that every audience he performed for was belting out a rumor louder than his songs, he smiled through the storm. After her trip abroad, Nicole Kidman walked the red carpet with that serene porcelain elegance that only she could possess, never recognizing the turmoil that had once made her name synonymous with treachery. The Noise Will Fade is the new single from Maggie B. Still Quiet. Yes, it made its debut at #1 and Jaguar. She didn't go away. She changed her brand. She started her subsequent live webcast with a smile, and no one understood it at the time. But that was the headline. The truth always returns. She smirked at the camera and asked, "Did y'all miss me?" Her best trick. Not even the receipts, not the files, not the scandal. It was her talent for turning pandemonium into an admission, and turning amusement into similar to proof. She didn't merely reveal a she became the story. Additionally, somewhere in a Keith Urban at a Nashville studio strummed a different heartbreak song. And quiet. But he didn't write any melody. Might rival the one seen on the internet. Continued to play. The song that Jaguar Wright constructed using fire, gossip, and AA universe that consistently chooses sensation above the truth. Because of the current viral "the truth doesn't matter" confessionals, almost as much as the person who gets to tell it first. Do you love her or not, Jaguar Wright? Hate her and say it loudest or loudest. Loudest.